In the desolate, unforgiving heart of Siberia, where the breath of winter held at a staggering -71 degrees Celsius, a man defied the very concept of time. 81 years etched onto his weathered face, his lean, resilient frame moved with the ancient rhythm of survival. Every crystalline crunch of his boots on the frozen snow was a defiant beat against the omnipresent silence, broken only by the incessant, lung-searing whistle of the relentless wind. He was a solitary figure, a living anachronism in a stark white canvas of indifference. His eyes, though tired, held a distant, ingrained focus, honed by decades of relentless confrontation with this merciless land. Then, a distant shape. An anomaly in the monochrome expanse. His movements, usually slow and deliberate, gained a cautious urgency. As he drew nearer, the shape resolved into an impossible horror, a horse, half-buried, its emaciated form screaming immediate death, a ghost against the blinding white. Shock rippled through him, a jolt that momentarily paralyzed, quickly replaced by dawning, grim comprehension. His breath hitched, a choked gasp swallowed by the blizzard. Yet, not like this. His brain screamed the primal directive, continue on, save yourself. The Arctic had no room for sentiment. But an immediate, visceral survival instinct, fueled by an unyielding human compassion, overrode the logical cry for self-preservation. It was a silent, desperate plea, a profound denial of the impossibility, transforming shock into an unwavering determination to defy fate. Hypothermic pain already crept, a silent, burning threat on his exposed skin, yet he knelt with agonizing slowness. A shallow twitch in the horse's flank, a whisper of life, cemented his choice. He tore at his pack, frozen fingers fumbling, battling the canvas stiff with cold. Each movement was a deliberate agony, a race against the instantaneous grip of -71 degrees Celsius death. He managed to partially drape a heavy tarp over the dying animal, a meager shield against the blizzards. His face, flushed crimson with the silent creep of frostbite, betrayed the profound cost. But he locked eyes with the horse, understanding that to give up now was to betray not just the dying creature, but the last spark of human compassion in a desolate world. A singular, undeniable emotional threat binding man and beast against the indifference. The fragile truce with oblivion began with a ritual. Each dawn, the 81-year-old Siberian, eyes still holding the grim comprehension of the previous day's choice, pushed himself from a bed of furs. Every movement was a controlled effort, his aging body protesting the extreme, -71 degrees Celsius, cold that constantly sought purchase. His gaze, however, remained fixed on the horse, whose shallow, ragged breaths filled the air, a constant, fragile drumbeat against the silent vastness. Fire was not comfort here, it was existence. With trembling, precise hands, he coaxed a tiny flame from precious scraps of wood and moss, shielding its nascent warmth with his body. He scraped handfuls of snow into a blackened pot, watching ice crystals cling to his fingers as he melted sustenance. Every calorie was accounted for, every dried berry and scrap of preserved meat rationed with practiced discipline. He divided the meager fare, offering a portion to the horse, a silent, daily prayer. These were not mere actions, but deliberate acts of defiance, a meticulous, ritualistic routine entirely centered on sustaining their twin, fragile existences. His improvised sanctuary, a makeshift lean-to, cobbled together from snow and salvage, was a living, breathing defense against oblivion. Generations of Siberian life, etched into his very being, taught him that a shelter was not built once, but maintained perpetually. He checked every seam in the snow blocks, patching fissures with hide and his own unwavering will. His tools, an ancient axe, a unique skinning knife, were not merely objects. They were extensions of his ancestors, lessons passed down from a time when survival was the only inheritance worth having. He cleaned and sharpened the knife, its rhythmic scrape a meditative act, then gently used it to trim hide, preparing a bandage for the horse's small wounds. His touch, though calloused, was precise, compassionate. The horse, still fragile, winced but remained still, a dawning trust in its cloudy eyes. A profound connection deepened in the quiet of their improvised home, a silent, mutual understanding against the crushing isolation. Yet, outside, the vast, indifferent Siberian wilderness unfurled its endless white. The constant, soul-numbing cold, the relentless wind, the omnipresent threat of deeper snow. The ghost of abandonment lingered, a chilling reminder of humanity's potential indifference. He emerged from the shelter each day, breath of violent plume, fighting the horizontal snow, his body straining against the physical resistance of -71 degrees Celsius. His search for fuel was agonizingly slow, his hands chapped and raw, burning from the cold. He would return with meager bundles, clearly insufficient, a weary resolve settling on his weathered face. Inside, the horse shivered, its breathing labored, its eyes still holding fear and pain. He checked its pulse at its neck, his face tightening almost imperceptibly as a subtle sign of worry crossed his features. Their meager fuel pile diminished, dangerously low. The implication of life without heat was stark. He saw the cracks forming in their carefully constructed routine. Then, the ominous change in the sky, dark, heavy clouds gathering on the horizon. And then, fresh tracks in the snow just outside the shelter, large, unmistakable paw prints. Predator tracks. A silent alarm rang. Despite its weakness, the horse nudged his arm, a small, tender gesture, offering a fleeting reason to continue fighting. He looked from the horse to the depleting resources, then back to the ominous sky. His routine, his fragile sanctuary, were no longer enough against the vast indifference. A deeper, more perilous challenge awaited. The foundation of resilience was built, but it was about to be shaken to its core. He began to plan, his mind racing through possibilities for movement, for escape. He hacked at a piece of hide, wrapping it around his frostbitten hand. He helped the horse to its feet, it stumbled but managed to stand. They moved slowly, painstakingly, away from the ruined shelter. The blizzard picked up, a fresh wave of blinding snow. He fashioned a makeshift harness from rope and fur. His stiff, frostbitten fingers struggled with the knots. He encouraged the horse, urging it forward, its weak whinnies heartbreaking. They reached a treacherous ice sheet, slick and gleaming. His weathered face showed grim determination. He tested the ice with his axe, listening for cracks, the risk of falling through amplifying the danger of hypothermia. The horse hesitated, sensing the danger. He removed his thickest fur mitten. His hand, exposed to -71°C, quickly turned crimson, then white. He wrapped the mitten around one of the horse's forelegs, providing grip. A profound sacrifice. With his bare, agonized hand, he gripped the horse's bridle, slowly pulling, guiding it onto the ice. The crossing was agonizingly slow. The blizzard buffeted them. The horse slipped, its legs splaying. He pulled with all his might, bracing himself, preventing a fall, his exposed hand, now blackening with severe frostbite, digging into the horse's icy mane. He fell to one knee, his body screaming, but maintained his grip. The horse regained its footing. Inch by agonizing inch, they moved across the stark white ice. Finally, solid ground. He collapsed from exhaustion, still holding the bridle. The horse, though weak, stood over him, nudging him gently with its muzzle. A deep, spiritual bond had been cemented. His face showed pain, exhaustion, and a profound, quiet triumph. His damaged hand was irrelevant. He looked into the horse's eyes. They were clear now, full of life and gratitude. The blizzard subsided, revealing a distant, familiar landmark, a path towards a safer area. The final, irreversible sacrifice had been made. Fate itself bent to an unyielding will, transforming despair into an undeniable victory. Weakened but resolute, he began to walk, the horse following closely, gently nuzzling his shoulder, a silent acknowledgement of their shared ordeal and mutual reliance. The extreme cold no longer dictated their every move. They walked together into the clearing, leaving the treacherous ice and the ruined shelter behind, a testament to endurance and unyielding human compassion. The fragile sanctuary, once a bastion against the biting cold, was now a tomb slowly losing its warmth. The fire, weak and sputtering, barely fought the chill as the thermometer's mercury plummeted. The horse's breath was cloudier, its flank trembling. The old man, his unyielding compassion etched onto his weathered face, pulled a fur blanket tighter around the struggling animal. A focused anger, born of fierce determination, replaced his tenderness. Their woodpile was critically low, the last log clinging to frost. The Arctic wilderness, an antagonist of -71°C fury, began to reclaim its own. He made a decision born of grim necessity. He packed his rucksack with meticulous care, an ancient axe, some dried meat, a coil of rope. Each item, a sacred promise. His eyes, though tired, were resolute. He gave the horse a final, comforting pat, a moment of silent, shared understanding before he emerged into the biting blizzard, a tiny figure swallowed by the stark white vastness. He struggled through deep, unforgiving snow, his lean body straining, his layered gear caked with frost. The extreme cold bit at his exposed face, threatening hypothermia with every agonizing step. He scanned the horizon, an endless expanse offering no easy answers. His search led him to a distant cluster of stunted trees, twisted by the wind, a potential, fleeting solution. He chopped at the frozen branches with his ancient axe, each swing slow, powerful, fueled by sheer will. He stumbled on treacherous black ice but recovered, his mind racing. He found a ruined trapper's lean-to, a mere skeleton of timbers, but it sparked an idea, a more robust shelter. He gathered what usable wood he could, then pushed on, ascending a gentle slope, the blizzard making his progress excruciatingly slow. He found a deep snowdrift, sheltered by a rock formation, and began to dig, envisioning a snow cave, a true bastion. Daylight faded, painting the landscape in hues of violet and orange, intensifying the cold. His red, chapped hands cleared a small cavity in the snow, a glimmer of desperate hope in the immense task. But time was running out. Back at their first shelter, the wind howled violently. A section of the lean-to roof groaned, then snapped, torn open by the relentless blizzards. Snow blasted into the shelter, and the tiny fire hissed, extinguished. The horse startled, tried to stand, then collapsed, weakened, almost invisible in the encroaching white. Horror mixed with despair on the man's face. He rushed to shield the horse with his body, his once adequate gear now failing. He tried to rekindle the fire, his fingers numb, clumsy, the tinder wet and frozen. He failed repeatedly. The fragile truce was broken. All defenses shattered, leaving them utterly exposed. The extreme cold instantly filled the space, seizing all warmth. He slumped against the horse, shivering uncontrollably, his lean body giving way to hypothermia. The horse's breathing became shallower, ragged, its eyes glazed over, rimmed with ice. His own vision blurred, distorted by cold and fatigue. He mumbled incoherently, seeing fleeting images of a warm hearth, family faces. The seductive silence of near surrender beckoned. His frost-nipped fingers twitched, reaching into empty, freezing air. His head lolled against the horse's cold flank, his breathing shallow, irregular. He was close to losing consciousness. Ice crystals formed on his sparse gray hair and beard, his face pale, almost translucent. The horse gave a faint, rattling sigh, a final, desperate sound. He stirred, tried to open his eyes, seeing its body stiffening, its warmth fading. A profound spiritual emptiness descended. He pulled the fur blanket over both of them, a futile gesture, as snow drifted inside, slowly covering them, blending them into the landscape. A single tear froze on his cheek. Hope, it seemed, had frozen with the last breath of the fire. Then, a sudden, sharp intake of breath. His eyes snapped open. A flicker of consciousness, a jolt of primal instinct, pierced the fog. He saw a fleeting vision, his ancestors, digging into the snow, not for shelter, but for warmth from the earth itself. His frozen hand pressed against the snow-covered ground. He felt a faint difference in temperature. Pain shot through his limbs as he stirred, but a fierce resolve glinted in his eyes. He looked at the horse, still, seemingly lifeless, and focused on a specific detail, a thick layer of ice on its side. Not just external cold, but internal stagnation. The revelation struck him: the horse needed active warmth, not just insulation. It needed to move, to generate its own heat, despite its weakness. He recalled an ancient Siberian method of stimulating circulation in frozen animals, a brutal, risky technique. Slowly, painfully, he worked his way upright, leaning heavily on the horse. He began to gently, then more firmly, rub the horse's flank, pouring his own fading energy into the animal, his chapped hands agony. The horse remained unresponsive. Despair threatened, but he pushed it away with absolute will. He forced himself to speak, his voice raspy, whispering encouragement. He used his ancient axe, not for wood, but to hack through the packed snow, exposing the earth beneath, creating a deeper hollow. He pulled himself next to the horse, continuing the massage, his unyielding human compassion fueling him past the pain. A faint twitch in the horse's ear. A barely perceptible shift. His eyes widened. The horse's eyes fluttered open, a glimmer of awareness returning, a reflection of a primal will to live. He let out a ragged, choked cry of triumph, tears freezing on his face. The horse tried to lift its head, a monumental effort, managing a weak whinny. He embraced its head, both of them fragile, but now connected by a renewed spark. The extreme cold was still present, but he now had a clear objective. He exhaled a shaky breath, mist crystallizing in the air. A stable fire glowed nearby, radiating crucial heat after the desperate sacrifice. His weathered, wise face, etched with exhaustion, now held a fragile relief as he cradled his frostbitten hand. The horse, still fragile but with a nascent spark of life, lay on a bed of furs, its shallow but steady breaths a symphony of survival. Leaning over the creature, his unyielding human compassion shone through, a profound, almost tearful relief washing over him, overriding his own physical pain. Outside, the improvised lean-to, a fragile collection of snow and salvaged wood, held firm against the Arctic's relentless howl. Smoke curled from a vent, a sign of sustained warmth. He meticulously inspected his frostbitten fingers, wincing as he gently rubbed them, rationing his remaining strength. He melted packed snow into precious drinking water, a simple act, yet a testament to the disciplined routine that now anchored their existence. He brought a shallow bowl to the horse, whose eyes, filled with fragile hope, watched him, then cautiously sipped. The immediate battle was won, but the vast, stark white landscape outside promised continued hardship. The grip of -71 degrees Celsius had been broken. A momentary victory, hard-won and painful. But true survival, true sanctuary, would demand more than just holding on. His weathered face set with renewed determination, he worked methodically to reinforce the shelter, packing fresh snow against the exterior, sealing cracks with ice shards. The horse, now able to stand, offered soft wickers of acknowledgement. He split salvaged wood with his ancient axe, each swing economical, every piece of fuel precious. He draped layers of animal skins over the inner walls, trapping heat, transforming the crude space into a more livable haven. He sat by the fire, sipping hot water, the horse settled nearby. A hard-won security permeated the air. The immediate crisis was averted, but the Arctic provided no permanent shelters. He had saved a life, now, he needed to build a future, a true sanctuary against the indifference of the Arctic wilderness. His wise face pensive, he sketched a new design in the packed snow floor, a robust, circular structure, a more permanent home. The horse pushed up onto its wobbly legs, taking a tentative step, a significant milestone. He ventured back into the wilderness, moving cautiously, scanning for larger, more suitable logs. He struggled through deep snowdrifts, his lean body straining, but his unyielding human compassion fueled every arduous step. He found a thick, wind-fallen branch, a valuable discovery, and painstakingly dragged it back. This was more than a shelter, it was a profound investment of his life force. Every log placed, every stone set, was an act of defiance, building a testament to life in a land meant for death. Over several days, the framework of the new sanctuary rose, sturdy logs interlocking, packed snow and ice serving as insulating mortar. He wielded his axe with inherited skill, each cut deliberate. Inside, he constructed a more efficient fireplace, maximizing heat, minimizing fuel. He stood back, observing the nearly complete walls. Sweat froze on his weathered face. This was the physical manifestation of an unyielding will. Finally, the new sanctuary stood, a robust, solid bastion, smoke curling gracefully from its vent, a beacon of defiance. He gently coaxes the horse, now moving with a steady gait, towards the entrance. The horse entered, sniffing the warm, earthy air, its body language showing profound comfort. It grazed on a generous pile of dried grasses, its movements fluid, appetite healthy. A faint, gentle smile touched his weathered face. His unyielding human compassion had transformed the dying creature into a vibrant companion. He returned to his daily chores, chopping wood, melting snow, tending to the horse. But now, his actions were imbued with a quiet confidence, no longer frantic, but purposeful, rhythmic, part of a new, shared existence. The horse rested peacefully nearby. The Arctic wilderness continued its silent vigil outside, but within these walls, a profound transformation had occurred. His routine, once solitary, was now a rhythm of shared life and purpose. He and the horse shared a peaceful moment, the horse gently nuzzling his shoulder, his face breaking into a soft, genuine smile. He looked out through an ice-rimmed window at the boundless wilderness, the horse beside him, a silent, comforting presence. The extreme cold remained, but its power over them was broken. His weathered hand stroked the horse's now healthier, thick coat. The bond was palpable. Their shared meal, a ritual of mutual sustenance. He sat by the fire, the horse sleeping soundly near him. His unyielding human compassion had transformed a hopeless situation into a profound lesson, a testament to enduring life. They walked slowly outside the sanctuary. The horse, strong and vibrant, trotted confidently through the snow. The man, though weathered by age, walked with a renewed purpose, resolute against the backdrop of the Arctic. The extreme cold no longer dictated their every move. Both looked out over the endless, indifferent wilderness. The horse nudged his hand. His wise face held a look of deep serenity and quiet triumph. The legacy of his unyielding human compassion endured in their shared journey, two souls, no longer alone, transformed by the brutal beauty of survival.